We welcome you to another live edition of the Sports Box, brought to you by our sponsor, Showcase Sports in Hamilton. Showcase Sports for the elite athlete. And by our friends over at CrowdPlay. Download the free CrowdPlay app today and check them out at www.crowdplayapp.com for details. Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
Hey everybody, welcome to Cage My IQ. I am your host, D-Bake. Today I will be recapping week 2 of the PFL season for 2021. Once again, we are Cage My IQ, the best place for your MMA content. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. And then make sure you go to the YouTube handle and subscribe to our page so you don't miss any of the content that we bring to you guys, because we cover UFC, PFL, Bellator, and even one championship with previews and recaps. So anything you don't want to miss, go to our YouTube page, and then we even do interviews of fighters. So you don't want to miss any of our content at any time. So go to our YouTube page, subscribe to it, and then make sure to watch all the content that gets loaded onto it. But to get started on the main card for this week's PFL Week 2 main card, which was on last night on Thursday, the first matchup we had, which arguably was the fight of the night in my opinion, saw Emiliano Sordi defeat Chris Camazzi by unanimous decision. This was a great fight all on itself. Round 1, Emiliano Sordi came in and controlled the pace. His striking was looking crisp, and then he was able to take down Chris Camazzi a few times, and then he was able to control the first round. And it seemed like both guys gas tanks because there was a lot of pace going in the first round. Emptied out big time, and then affected the fight for the rest of the last 2 rounds. Because once the first round ended, which Sordi picked up the first round, both guys looked lethargic and tired, and then that allowed Chris Camazzi, who looked like a little bit fresher of the fighter in round 2, to take down Sordi. And then basically what he did was he controlled him on the ground in a guard for about 3/4 of the second round. And then they both went up and they got Sordi with a nice shot. And he basically stole the second round by not doing too much other than the takedown. So they went to round 3, tied 1-1. And then that's when Sordi picked it up after not doing too much in round 2. And landed a few good shots and kicks on Camazzi, and then was able to take him down for the last couple minutes of the third round, and snuck away with the 29-28 victory over Chris Camazzi, which gave him the 3 points. This wasn't anything crazy, spectacular, but it showed that these guys both were able to go into that overdrive to try and do what they needed to do to win. And I think just because Emiliano Sordi has done this and is one of the defending champs, that he was able to take it to the next level and do what he needed just to pick up that win and the 3 points. He would have rather have gotten the knockout or submission, but he's content with getting those 3 points, and then he moves on to the second leg of the regular season with points rather than getting that loss. The second matchup on the card was a matchup that saw Zero Seferino defeat Gleison Tibau by unanimous decision. This was all Seferino in this matchup. He went on an onslaught against Gleison Tibau and just kept on pouring the volume on him. And it just looked like Gleison Tibau had no chance in this fight. And Seferino did what he had to do. He put the fight into his favor. He controlled the octagon, and everything went his way, and this is just one of those matchups where he came in prepared and dominated, and he picked up the easy victory here and the 3 points. He would, just like in the last matchup, you would have liked to see him get that knockout or submission to get that 6 points. That would have been basically a playoff guarantee there, but he picks up the 3 points. He looked great doing so, and now he's going to wait to see who he faces in the next round in June. But this was a matchup that wasn't paired together until recently, so he had the better game plan, and he gets the 3 points. Moving on to the third matchup of the card, we had PFL standout Ray Cooper, who defeated Jason Poe by first round submission. Ray Cooper is the guy that you expect to win this whole thing. He's the favorite in the welterweight division, and he showed it here. Even though he went up against a lighter opponent in Jason Poe, who everybody made a comment that he was just a guy that they pulled off just for Ray Cooper to beat up. He didn't have to do too much beating up because he was able to get this done pretty quickly. Ray Cooper, he's a underspoken guy. He doesn't speak loud. He's a calm guy. But once he gets into the octagon, he becomes a ferocious killer. And what he did in here was exactly what you expected from Ray Cooper III. He came in, he slammed down Jason Poe, and then he was able to get a submission locked in and make him submit, which gave him 6 points off of this matchup, and mostly, in my opinion, guarantees him a spot in the playoffs. Because how are you going to, at worst, say he loses the next matchup? He still has 6 points, plus the fact that he was able to submit and dominate Jason Poe in the way that he did. He had a great game plan. He controlled the fight from start to finish, and he was able to get out quickly without taking any damage at all, since he dominated it. So things are looking good for Ray Cooper, but all he had to do was slam down Poe, control him on the mat, and then get the submission victory, which gave him 6 points. So now Ray Cooper goes into second leg of the regular season up top on the leaderboard in the welterweight division. Moving on to the main event of the evening, right here, we had a matchup between Rory the Red King MacDonald against Curtis Millender, in which we saw Rory MacDonald defeat Curtis Millender by first round submission. I feel like we saw the closest that we're going to see to the peak position of Rory MacDonald, to where he was in the UFC before he left for Bellator, and then now here in PFL. He's probably about 80 or 90% of what his best version of himself was, but still, he still looked very scary with how he was. He was able to get the control of the fight. Striking was looking crisp and looking good. Curtis Millender just felt like he was a step behind, and Rory MacDonald was able to take down Curtis Millender and eventually lock in the rear naked choke to get the submission victory and get the 6 crucial points in this matchup. It's something to be noted that the two favorites in this welterweight division, in Rory MacDonald and Ray Cooper III, were able to pick up first round submissions, so they both have 6 points. And that's a matchup, like, if they don't get pitted against each other in the second leg of the regular season, where if they don't, then they would only be able to meet in the playoffs. How this could be if they both face each other in the playoffs, because more than likely they both locked their chances at getting to the playoffs with these 6 crucial points that they got in their first legs because of their submissions. But more than likely, they'll obviously, if it keeps going this way, they likely won't face each other until the finals because of the bracket format, with them both having the most points. But he looked sharp. He dominated the fight, and he just like Ray Cooper III, Rory MacDonald was able to get out of this fight, not taking really that much damage, and was able to pick up the 6 big points because of the submission. I'm expecting a lot from Rory MacDonald since Anthony Showtime Pettis got the loss last week. Pettis and Rory MacDonald were the 2 big acquisitions that the PFL made to bolster up their competition. And with Pettis losing, Rory MacDonald got the victory and was at least able to keep one of the 2 big signings eligible for the playoffs, because Pettis is going to have a long feat ahead of him to make the playoffs in the lightweight division. But it was a great show by Rory MacDonald, dominating his fight, and then moved on to the second race of the regular season, tied for top of the leaderboard in the welterweight division. That is our PFL Week 2 recap for you. As you know, we had all those guys win. Sorty won, Sefarino won, Ray Cooper III won, and Rory the Red King MacDonald won. You can follow us, our recaps and previews of PFL each week during the season. I usually send out the preview around Monday or Tuesday, and then we do the recap either right after the fight or the next morning. So don't hesitate to ask us any questions about the PFL if you want to get any inside information from us. But don't miss out any of the action from PFL on ESPN2. And then next week, they'll be coming out with Week 3, where I believe the women and the heavyweights get started, with the headliner being Fabricio Verdum, the big heavyweight signee, and then Kayla Harrison, who is the defending champion amongst the women in their division. So that'll wrap things up for today. I'm your host, D-Bake. Once again, this is Cage My IQ, the best place for MMA content. Go to our Instagram page, Twitter page, YouTube page, and Twitch page. Follow us on those pages at the handles to the left. And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, where all of our content is stored. In case you miss anything from the past week, just go to the YouTube page and catch on there, because more than likely, all of our content's on there. So don't miss any of the action. And then once again, you can follow us with our affiliate, the Sports Box, right there below. You can follow them on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and then subscribe to the Sports Box's YouTube page. We have over 20 different podcasts on there for all different sports. So no matter what sport you like that gets you interested in following, you can go to the Sports Box, and they'll likely have a podcast dedicated to the sport that you like. So definitely give our affiliate a follow, like some of our episodes and like some of our content on there, and then just let me know what you think of everything we're doing here on Cage My IQ, because that's what we value. We value your opinion. Just let us know what you think. Give us comments on our videos. And once again, I am D-Bake, and you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you very much.
Thank you for watching this episode of Cage My IQ on the Sports Box. Please remember to follow us on all of our social media outlets. On Facebook at Sportsbox Show, Twitter at Sportsbox Show, Instagram at The Sportsbox Show. Find us on YouTube and join Outside the Box, our Facebook sports discussion group. The Sports Box is brought to you by our sponsor, Showcase Sports in Hamilton. Showcase Sports for the elite athlete. And also our friends over at CrowdPlay. Download the free CrowdPlay app today and use promo code THEBOX at sign up for 10 free points. Thank you for joining us.